Welcome to another week at Starting Out Solitary. This is Eliptica24, and this week we are talking about books and how we incorporate them into our practice. I will tell you, because of me being legally blind, reading visually at any length is very difficult without using my magnifier, and I tend not to do it. So if I get an audiobook or a PDF file, it's much easier for me to read. And that's just how it is. So if I get an actual book, it is generally like a reference book that I can go back to follow like a step-by-step or something of the sort, where it's less of where I necessarily have to read the whole thing to get the whole point. Those type of books I have on my computer or in audio file, if I can ever find them on an audio file, because that is very difficult. So what I'm going to share is things that they may not be particularly witchy, all of them, but they are part of my spiritual path. So my first one is, and please ignore the sticker stuff because I don't want to ruin the book by trying to tear them off. So is my Candle Magic book, which up until now I have not had a chance to really work with or look through because we were packing most of the time after getting this. But now that I've found all of my candles, that if you go on to my main channel, you can see that I made a candle tag. I have quite a bit that I can use. And I'm definitely interested in learning more about the correspondence and placement and all that stuff, and sigils to put on the candles and whatnot. It's one area that I think I could definitely become quite efficient at. Another one is, it's called I Had the Strangest Dream, the Dreamer's Dictionary. And I have used this. I did use it when I first got it quite a bit. It's what you would expect. It covers like key images like trees or a house and what it could represent. Not very complicated. It's definitely an older book. But I have used that because I have very vivid dreams, and I do have a tendency to remember them. Oh, stickers. So the next book I have, and it is probably my newest acquisition, got the whole sticker off by itself, is the Complete Crystal Handbook. And 99% of my books I have gotten from half-price books, because they actually have quite a bit of books that you can't find at, say, Barnes & Noble and whatnot. Which this has again, I have, like I said, it's pretty new, so I haven't had a chance to really take the time to look at it too in depth, but it's quite comprehensive, I think, and it's going to help me determine, as you guys saw in the last SOS video, it was about crystals, and I definitely need to organize and arrange my crystals a little bit better. But as you can see, it's quite thick because it's small print, and obviously this is something I'm going to have to read under my magnifier. This book is, God, I've had it almost 10 years. It's crazy. It's called 365 Birthdays Interpreted. And what it does, it's every day, and it has some numerology aspects and some astrology aspects, but it basically talks about, like, some of it talks about what happened on that day, or who shares that birthday. But overall, it explains like why that day is important. But it overall, it's just a correspondence of the day and the what's important on that day. I'm definitely a big person for finding out more about like my birthday and astrology and whatnot. Which brings to the next one is the Astrology Dictionary. Which is kind of a big book. But this one's actually really fun. It doesn't just use like it really is set up like a dictionary. It's A through Z, and it goes through the traditional astrology, but it goes through other aspects like Chinese astrology and basically if you know your animal, it talks about that when it falls under like Chinese zodiac or it's interesting. It's been fun to play around with it. I've used this with some of my friends, and shockingly enough, it can be quite accurate. The images obviously are a little simple and whatnot, but it's quite fascinating because I like to learn different traditions and what's important about them, and it goes everything from like Leo to the lion and the different aspects of what the sign is to what the animal represents and whatnot. Another fairly new purchase is it's got a shiny wording, so it's hard for me to read it. The whole thing's blanked out. Oh, I'm reading the side. Okay. Ceremonies of the Seasons. And I have skimmed through this, and I think starting after Christmas, I will be using this. It does talk about like the Sabbats, but it also talks about other traditions, holidays like Chinese New Year's, and some of the images are pretty. It talks about like what those holidays are, like a little small bit of history, but like I have one of these and I need to get it from my parents' house because I was using it kind of like a cross at my parents' house, but it I don't know, it's hard for me to explain because I haven't read too in depth of it, but let me see. Like that picture that you just saw was spring, and it shows like different areas, different things you can make, and just the stories, and I don't know. It's pretty, and it's very interesting book from what I've taken a look at, and I also really like the front of it. And this is the last book, and it is The Hidden Truth of Your Name, and it's about as big as a damn dictionary. I've looked up my husband's and mine, but it literally has just about every damn name you can think of in it. It's ridiculous. But this one talks about the different spellings of the name, popular people who had it, what the name means in different languages. Like, for example, my name is Tara, T-A-R-A, and depending on where you read up on the history of it will depend on the name, like what it means. Like, I believe in like Sanskrit or some Middle Eastern term of it. It's like star, But mine is based in the Irish meaning, and so it's more of like hilly crag. But my parents were trying to be like more of a Terra. I'm like, you spelled it wrong, which is from the earth. But a hilly crag is technically from the earth, so I guess by association it works. But those are my books that I have. I will say I have quite a few Sylvia Browne books on CD, which I totally spaced and I just thought about. For me, and this is a whole other topic, but I enjoy listening to her talk, and a lot of her ideas I kind of resonate with. I'm not so much with like the angels but like more of like how when she talks about like the second sight or clairvoyance, clairaudience, stuff like that. I don't know. I find it very intriguing, and a lot of people do follow that type of line when it comes to learning about that stuff. So that is another one that I have CDs of, but it's more for entertainment rather than spiritual. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed looking at the books I actually have. And sorry that they're a little less witchy and more of the general spiritual aspect. So I will see you next week. Enjoy.